On November 26, 2025, a fire broke out in Hong Kong Hong Fuk Court. In just a few minutes, 7 residential high-rises went up in flames. 7 towers turned into 7 pillars of fire. The fire burned out for more than 14 hours before it was finally put out. Up to today, the authorities say 116 people died, but many believe the real number was much higher. Miss Lee, who lived on the second floor of Hong Fuk Court, is one of the survivors of the Great Fire. His second-floor home was right near the spot where the fire first ignited. After being trapped in a smoke-filled apartment for more than 2 hours, Miss Lee heard 2 neighbors calling out for help. Without a moment of hesitation, he flung open the door, charged into the darkness, and dragged 2 elderly into safety. After his rescue, Miss Lee kept doing interviews. He's demanding answers for the died and the missing. Why the fire started in the first place? On November 26, around 2:15 p.m., the protective night on the ground floor of Hong Fuk Court first caught fire. The fire spread like wildfire, and in less than 10 minutes, the stairs and the hallways were choked with thick smoke. Miss Lee says he didn't hear any alarm going off at night time, and the sprinkler system never kicked in. He first found out the fire from his wife at around 3 p.m. She called him, repeating what a neighbor said. "Get out! There's a fire!" At that moment, Miss Lee didn't grasp how serious it was. He got dressed, opened the door, and light when it hit him. The hallway was pitch black, filled with choking black smoke. He slammed the door shut, realized that he might not be able to make it out. He was trapped in his home. Trapped at home, Miss Lee thought of tying ropes to escape, or even jumping from his second-floor windows. But the ground below was piling high with burning bamboo scaffoldings, with stuff falling from above all the time. Jumping just felt like a very bad idea, so he waited there alone. He described it later. It felt like almost on a battlefield. The building echoed with small explosions. Bang, bang, from time to time. Each one shook the structure a little bit. There was the crackling of burning bamboo and the thud of heavy objects crashing down all the time. Even though he could see the firefighters from his windows, no matter how loud he yelled, they couldn't hear him. The noise around him was so loud. That's when he heard cries for help from the hallway. Without much hesitation, Miss Lee wrapped a scarf around his nose and mouth and rushed out. He explained later that being trapped in his room alone filled him with overwhelming loneliness. Hearing fellow humans calling for help, he just had to try to do something no matter what. Charging into the hallway, he couldn't see a thing. The smoke stole his sense of direction and distance, so he felt around the wall with his hand, shouting as he went until he found the 2 others and brought them back to his apartment. Afterwards, the others told him they had heard screaming from a foreign domestic helper, "婆婆," that's grandma in Cantonese. This time, Miss Lee hesitated. He didn't know where exactly they were, so he didn't rush into the smoke again. Talking about it afterward, Miss Lee choked up. "This is the part I can't let go of," he said. 2 lives just gone, right in front of me. Everyone told him he'd done enough. But when he learned that the grandma passed away at about 6 p.m., and the sister, the term for foreign helper in Hong Kong, stayed with him until the very end, it hit him hard. "Because I have escaped at 5 p.m., Miss Lee explained later. If I had done something, maybe the grandma and the sister wouldn't have gone like that." Later, the grandma's doctor heard about it and sent a message through the media. Thank you for letting me know that my mother didn't pass away alone. Someone was there, calling her name. You'd done all you could. Please don't feel guilty. The road is long, and I'm grateful to have friends to cry with. The two elderly neighbors had fled from their apartment when their windows shattered from the heat. Now the smoke in Mr. Lee's place was getting thicker too. He worried that his windows might burst next. They all knew they couldn't stay. Miss Lee's first idea was to wipe some clothes, cover their faces, charge all the way downstairs, and escape from the lobby. But his wife caught him and said the lobby was full of fire. Then he thought of the building's other emergency exit, but one of the orders crushed that hope. They said that door was always locked. At that point, despair set in. Miss Lee wrote later, "This time I will be imprisoned in the hell called home." He wasn't sure if the door was really locked, but he couldn't gamble their lives on it. Afterwards, firefighters found bodies in the stairs, hallways, and on the rooftop. Miss Lee said, "That door wasn't for escaping at that moment. It was leading you to death." As time passed by, the earth to jump from the window hit him hard again. But seeing the burning piles below and thinking of the two seniors in their 16s and 17s, he couldn't abandon them. He started preparing for the worst, even messaging a friend to take care of his children, attaching a photo of his smoke-filled room. Then he sat quietly by the window, watching the debris fall like black snowflakes mixed with embers drifting down from the sky. He decided not to call his wife until the very last moment. Around 4:13 p.m., Miss Lee sensed that the bedroom window was about to give away. The smoke and the smell of burning were overwhelming. He gathered clothes, hats, and shoes, got the two olders who were in their pajamas, get dressed and ready. He told them the end was near. If the bedroom window shattered, they'd all jump from the living room window together. The three of them, struggling to breathe, pounded at the window and flashed their phone lights at the firefighters below. Finally, one spotted them and aiming a high-pressure hose at their burning window, knocking the flames back. They'd been seen, but the bamboo scaffolding blocked the ladder truck from getting closer. Miss Lee said this was his desperate moment. They had been found, but couldn't escape. Around 5 p.m., the fire had burned through the floors above and below. The firefighters decided to risk a breakthrough. They'd have Miss Lee and others climbing onto the scaffolding and then onto the ladder. At Miss Lee's insistence, the two others went first. A few minutes later, the ladder went back for him. As he stepped on, burning debris rained down from above. The firefighters told him to court law covered his head. They kept pouring water onto him. Miss Lee said those few minutes felt like the longest in his life. Once he escaped, the first thing he did was turn around and take a photo of his burning home. The last photo before that was his daughter doing somersaults at home. His wife and kids were waiting for him at a nearby McDonald's. Miss Lee walked in, covered in ash. His daughter saw him, ran over and hugged him tight, screaming, "Daddy's not dead. Daddy doesn't have to die." His son just sat there crying quietly. "All my toys and games are gone," he cried as speaking. Then Miss Lee took out his son's iPad. This was one of the few items he took out with him from the fair. The boy burst into laughter immediately. "Because my son played on the iPad every day, I thought it was important to him," Miss Lee explained later, and his reaction proved me right. He and his wife didn't hug, they just locked eyes. Both knew that words couldn't express their feelings of seeing each other again. After settling his family, Miss Lee finally noticed that he felt unwell. To avoid taking resources from other fair victims, he asked a friend to drive him to a distant hospital. He said it was the next morning when the nurse asked him if he was in a hurry to go home. Let it sink in. He had no home left. But Miss Lee, having lost everything, stayed calm. He said, "I'm still capable. I'm still young. I can earn everything back." The reason he kept talking to the media? Just for one thing. He wanted to know the truth, why the fair started. Miss Lee was born in Hong Fuk Court. He used to live on higher floor, only moved to the second floor 2 years ago. He says his neighbors from those upper floors, an entire floor of people, didn't survive, didn't die in the Euro sense. They just vanished, like they never existed before. Miss Lee chalks up here. He said he thought about those neighbors every day, the ones who watched him grow up, the ones who were like family to him. It's worth mentioning, Hong Fuk Court started a major repair project from September 2024. The residents were forced to leave behind windows sealed with cheap foam boards, while the buildings were completely wrapped in green safety netting. After escaping, Mr. Lee said he was lucky that the foam boards covered his window were removed after the renovation was done on his floor. He said that's what saved him. But most residents weren't so fortunate. When the fire hit, those cheap foam boards, which were used to protect the window where the renovation going on, exploded under the heat, as a result igniting fire from inside and outside, leaving people with nowhere to run. Since the accident, doubts about the official death toll haven't went away. To this day, we haven't seen a full list of the dead and the missing. There's been no further investigation into the fair, no official being held accountable or arrested, and the survivors haven't been resettled yet. We are still